Welcome to the ZipForms Plus training for Berkshire Hathaway Florida Properties Group. My name is Eric Calconen, and I am the Director of Career Development with Berkshire Hathaway. I wanted to create a short video for you to kind of give you the basics of how to use the ZipForms Plus platform, how to create a new transaction and apply a template and get all your contracts and forms added to that transaction. Then we'll show you some quick tips and hints about how to complete those contracts and forms online. And then we'll be sending those for digital signatures. I think you'll find that although we still have the ability to use the DigiSign capability in SkySlope, the digital signatures that we have in ZipForms Plus is going to be much easier for you to use because it will recognize where you need the initials and the signatures for your buyers, and it'll save you the step of having to drag all those signatures plates and put them onto your documents. And then the final portion of today's training will show you a little bit about how to connect the two sites, ZipForms Plus and SkySlope, so that you can have integration between the two platforms and easily send your completed contract documents over from ZipForms into SkySlope. So I'm going to begin here today. You can see we're on the ZipForms Plus home screen, but I would just want to explain a little bit about how we set the launch up. All passwords will be sent to all of the agents with Berkshire Hathaway Florida Properties Group, as well as the admins and managers, on Thursday, January 26th. On that date, you're going to get an email from ZipLogix with a link to reset your password. So you'll simply click a link that's in the email to reset your ZipForms password. If by chance that link gets sent to you and the email does not work, it may be because you have a pop-up blocker installed on your software. You may have to, there's a full link that they'll provide to you as well. If the click here link doesn't work, you may have to select the entire link and then just copy and paste that entire full link into an internet browser. Either way, that should enable you to go ahead and log into the ZipForms Plus system. And when you get logged in, you should see a screen very similar to what you see here where it says ZipForms Plus. This is the home screen. At the top, we have these icons that go across for forms and new, delete, import, export, clauses. This is how these buttons are going to be how we navigate through the system and set up a transaction. So the first thing that I wanted to show you now that you've logged into the system is how to create a new transaction. First thing you'll see over here is we're just going to click the new button, the little plus on it, and we're going to click that. It's going to pull up a screen here that says transaction details. And first thing we have to do is give this transaction a name, and that's typically going to be the address. For today, I'm going to go ahead and just put in 123 Brandon Boulevard. And I'm going to go ahead and select the transaction type. I'm going to say this is a listing, a new listing I'm going to go get. The property type is residential. And then you'll see there's a section here where I can apply a template to this transaction. And if I click the down arrow, you'll see there are 3 templates available. A little difficult to read, but the 3 templates available are listing for a residential purchase or a condo. Then there are 2 purchase templates, the purchase with the as-is contract and the purchase with the standard residential contract. So today I'm going to do a listing, so we're going to go ahead and select the listing as the template. Now if I wanted, I could also enter any personal comments into the comment section here. These are my personal notes that I'd make on this transaction. You'll note that I can also add a photo. If I wanted to throw a photo up at the front of the house, it would automatically populate on the front of this transaction as well. For today, we just want to get the basics down, so I'm going to leave the information as is and say save. And then what you'll see is once I've done that, it takes me to this screen here. We've opened the transaction. There are 2 panels open now. There's the left panel here. This is the main transaction panel, showing me the name of the transaction, giving me the transaction ID. As I complete some of the documents within the transaction, these other fields will populate. So the escrow number, there's nothing next to that yet, but once we've input that information into our contract, we'll have that pop up, as well as the closing date. And you'll notice here there's a retention date. This will store this transaction in the ZipForms Plus system until Tuesday, January 23rd. 2024. So it will be archived for the next 7 years. I'll be able to get into this transaction if I need any of the documents out of it. Now if we just skip for a second and move over to the very right panel, on the very right panel this is the Forms library. And you can see right now we're open to the Berkshire Hathaway branded Forms library. All the documents that you see as part of this library there, they've been highlighted in blue. And the ones that are highlighted in blue are the ones that have automatically been selected for this transaction. If we wanted to add an additional form, we could simply highlight it here from the library. So for instance, this office information sheet, if we click on it, it will add it into the transaction. We'll see it be added to our contract forms over here. And then you'll also see that it will turn dark blue in the library list over here, letting you know it's been added to the transaction. Now, I'm going to go ahead and remove that. One note is that because of the way we are capturing the information, we have removed that office information sheet as a standard form from the majority of our transactions. We now have the ability with both SkySlope and ZipForms Plus to easily, within a couple of clicks, get to the kind of information, and there's no sense in having to duplicate it, having you to fill out that full office information sheet as well. So now you can, on this library over on the far right, you can select, we are looking at the Berkshire Hathaway library, but you can select a different library here. You can select the Florida Associations library, and that's going to show you all the different FAR bar with the Florida Association of Realtors contracts and addendums. So for instance, if you're using ZipForms and you want to get a release or cancellation from contract or home warranty document or a whatever type of form that you're looking for from the blank forms library, you can simply select from the library over here and then highlight the form that you need. Okay, a little bit now about actually creating the transaction itself. I'm going to go ahead and click on one of the contracts here to open it up. So I'm going to find the listing contract, which is exclusive right to sale listing contract. If I click on it right here on the screen, it should open the document directly up. Now I will say that while there are some limitations using our former Forms program, Forms Simplicity, I've tested this on every browser that I can download, and it's worked whether I'm on an Apple or a PC or whether I'm using Internet Explorer or Google Chrome. So we should have no compatibility issues with the actual software. Once you see that the contract is opened up here on the screen, I can, of course, fill and complete the contract out right online. So here I've clicked on the blank asking for the seller's information. I can type in Sally Seller for our seller, and we'll move over to the buyer, to the next form. I'm going to click on the buyer's information here, which is the seller's mailing address. We're going to put in seller's mailing address. We'll just put in 123 Main Street, so you get the idea. And then obviously this is a listing contract, so we won't have a buyer on this one. But we can continue to go down through here, put the description of the property in, and I'm going to put it 123 Brandon Boulevard and Brandon, Florida. So I populated the address in. And we've entered the address. The system will check. It's a smart system, so it will check and make sure that that address actually exists. Today I'm using a fictional address to be able to just get you through this, this video. And then you can continue entering the information, the price and the terms, and the commission information. But one thing I wanted to show you is that you'll notice we put the seller's information in Sally Seller. We put the the seller's mailing address as 123 Main Street, and the description of the property, the house being sold, being 123 East Brandon Boulevard. I'm going to come back to our contracts now. I'm going to just back out of that, click the back button, and I'm going to just show you when I go into the for instance, the seller's property disclosure here. Notice that the system is smart because we have written the seller's name in the listing contract as Sally Seller. Everywhere we need the seller's name and information now on any of our contract forms, it's automatically put in Sally's name. Now, if we had a buyer and we typed the buyer's name into any of these documents, the buyer's name would then populate any of the buyer blanks on any of your contracts. So by simply filling out a couple of your contracts and forms on here, it should help auto-populate the rest of your forms. There's a couple other little shortcuts when you're completing your contracts I will point to. The first one is up here at the very top, and I'm going to back out of the screen. I'm going to go back into the full exclusive right to sale. But up here at the very top of the screen, you have a button that's called Transaction Information. If you click this Transaction Information button, the screen is going to change. It's going to ask you on the main part here, give me the information for the property. And you can enter the MLS number and the street address, the city, state, and zip. So all the information on the actual listing itself. Over on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see these are the left panel here determines what you see on the main part of the screen. So when I click on Buyer 1, you'll notice that the main part of the screen is now changed to the Buyer 1's information. If I enter my Buyer 1 information here, I'll enter Billy Buyer. Okay. Now Billy's name should populate every contract form every time we need a buyer, or it asks for the buyer's name. It's going to automatically put Billy Buyer's information into the contract. I can do the same thing with Buyer 2 and Buyer 3, and even the seller 1, 2, 3, and 4. There are 4 placeholders for buyers, 4 placeholders for sellers. There's the listing broker information, the selling broker information, disclosure company, and as I'm completing these documents out, again, it's going to try to auto-populate the main contracts that you have with this transaction. Now, one other quick thing that will help you is that when you do have these contracts up, there is a button up here at the top called Fast Fill. You can use the Fast Fill button to easily fill out. What that's going to do is it's going to eliminate everything from the document you're looking for except for the blanks that you need to fill out. So when I click on the Fast Fill here, it's going to say, okay, in a listing contract, here are the main forms that you need to get filled out. The seller's name and information, listing date and expiration date, the property address, the legal description, the financing terms of the deal. So these are just simply all the variables on the contract that need to be completed. So you can either fill the contracts out, one at a time by clicking into them, or by using one of the methods that I showed you there. Now this should be a lot easier. I will mention that you'll notice that there is a link for ZipForm MLS Connect. ZipForms is in the process of being set up to have the MLS connection. It is currently not available as part of launch, but we hope that within a short period of time we will be able to automatically pull your information on each property using the MLS number. Hopefully that's going to help you streamline the process of pulling and auto-completing these forms. Okay, once you have your contracts and everything all set up and you've entered everything, then the next logical step is going to be to send them for digital signatures. You'll notice there's an e-sign button here. The e-sign button, you can simply create a new e-sign packet, select any contracts or forms from the list that you already have in this transaction to be sent. So we'll select this exclusive right to sale. Move on to the next step. We have to choose our parties to this transaction, and they have to have an email address. So I'm going to enter my email address to be able to set this up for our seller, Sally Seller. And I'm going to say we are going to use Sally for this one. She's our seller. So we're going to pretend we are sending this over for Sally for her digital signatures. And then I'm going to click the next button, which is a little bit off the screen here. Try to fix it. There you go. So I'm going to click the next button, and that should take us over to the actual signature page. Now the signature page here is smart enough to know that we can see it already has Sally's name in there, but on the screen itself, if I were to scroll down to the first signature blank, you'll see down here that it's completed an area where we simply didn't need to already drag these fields in. It automatically knows where Sally needs to initial and sign. So if we continue scrolling down through, we can see at the bottom of every page where there's a seller's initial, signature line has already been dropped in, and finally Sally's signature there at the very end. So we can simply click the send button. This will be sent out with an email invitation to Sally so she can complete the document. Now the final piece of this, once the contracts and forms have been filled out, you will be able to connect this over with SkySlope, and we'll show you that in a separate recording. It'll be another short 5-minute video about the integration with SkySlope. Hopefully this has been a nice overview for you, so just to be able to get an idea of how to use the basic functions of the tool. We will have a couple webinars set up for you happening tomorrow, so we wish you best of luck, and